Imperial from Some Guy and John.
Oh yeah, can they hear you from way over there?
Yeah, they can hear me.
No, they can't.
No, they
Yeah,
can't.
they can.
With special guests, Adam and Steven.
Adam and Steven
And
Rachel and Morgan.
What's up?
Morgan. Morgan's here podcasting with us.
Yes.
Some Guy and John. And what do we all see tonight? All 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Logan.
Logan.
Also known as X-Men, yes, we can use fuck now.
After Deadpool, I mean,
Yeah.
they gotta know.
Yeah.
Like this was a hell of a lot bloodier than the other X-Men movies and the other like that.
So many decapitations.
Love it.
Drinking game that will have you dead.
Oh.
Take a shot every time there's a cringe-worthy stabbing and goring or slashing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, everybody was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh shit.
I think the directors was like, okay, we just saw Deadpool. Now we have permission.
Yeah.
I think you're right, man. I
Go
think you're right.
and read every M-rated mature Wolverine
Yeah.
comic and put all that shit in there. And Joe, spoiler right here, freeze somebody in his arm and break it.
Oh yeah.
So that was
Love
so
that.
hot. That was
Love
so
that.
hot.
That was definitely a great movie.
It was. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you walked out, Morgan. You walked out of there saying, "I'm not sure if that was a great movie or a bad movie."
There's just
You couldn't tell.
I don't know. I just felt like there's a little too many cringeworthy points, like too many grunting sounds.
For me, there
or,
wasn't enough powers.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
There
lacking.
wasn't enough powers.
Yeah, exactly.
This was down on powers. I was complaining towards the end. I mean, I have a few complaints,
Oh yeah, I
but we'll get there.
I got
But one of
two
those
big
things,
right points.
yeah. But one of those things was the powers that I was mentioning Rachel in the theater saying, you know what? These kids are not using their powers because there's kids.
And they know how to.
Yeah.
I know.
Train specifically how to use their powers.
I know.
They're made as weapons.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're gonna get into the hardcore spoiler section at some point. We usually do the synopsis, like what we overall impression.
Yeah.
Then we get into spoilers, and then we go into like what we didn't like, what we liked, and then we'll rewrite it.
Right on.
Of course, we're drinking, so that never properly goes exactly as planned. Nobody thinks to write any of this shit down and bring it.
Overall, I think it was good, but it wasn't. I was blown away.
So for the record, I once bought a pad and paper to this, and you made fun of me for it. So,
I absolutely made fun of you because I didn't have one.
yeah.
I think that was implied. Had I also be similarly equipped, I would have been hats off to you. Nice pad and paper. No, I mean, I liked it. It just wasn't the other X-Men movies. You know what? That's one of the best things I liked about it. Because I was getting stale with the other X-Men
Yeah.
It's basically an escort mission.
Yeah. It is The Last of Us.
Yeah, but, you know.
Yeah, kind of.
So is Rogue One.
Yeah.
But it's also like a Clint Eastwood
Yeah.
movie. It's also a Western. It's also a samurai.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
why
It was
they were
kind of
watching
implied.
Shane halfway through.
Yeah,
That
and I
was
knew
a little
that.
too on the nose.
And I knew that Johnny Cash song was going to kick in sooner or later. It was in the trailers. It's going to kick in sooner or later. We're going to show him as this old, grizzled guy because he's
I think
old
they
and
should have
grizzled.
used that in the movie, though.
I thought
Some
they
kind
were.
of slow scene where he's about to, walking towards the guy he's about to take out or something.
Yeah, it was.
I've heard that song in so many movies
Yeah.
where it's always about that old, grizzled, tough guy. That song always gets used. Generation Kill is a good example. That's the song they play the whole show out. The whole
Right.
series ends with that song.
Old Johnny Gale.
Right, exactly. So that was bound to happen. Yeah. So spoilers in the credits. But it's not really spoiler because it's all over the internet. But right at the beginning, and I made damn sure pay attention to this. It's after it says, "Please enjoy your future presentation."
Yeah.
After all the other
It's
bullshit.
kind of part of the movie.
After all the
Yeah.
bullshit previews that
And
we
now
all
the
saw,
feature presentation.
they're like, we're going to see this Tom Cruise movie, we're going to see this movie, that movie. And it's like, now enjoy your feature presentation. Turn off your phones. And then it's like, Deadpool. The fuck?
Yeah.
They stuck a trailer in the movie.
Because
Yeah.
Fox owns them both. Fox owns the X-Men
That's what it
universe.
is. Okay,
And
yeah.
owns Deadpool along with that.
See, I keep getting
Yeah.
Fox and Sony mixed up.
Sony only owns Spider-Man.
They only, yeah.
Fox
Yeah.
owns the X-Men
And they're like,
and
here you go, you can have
and
a
the Fantastic
taste.
Four.
Yeah, they lease it out
Yeah.
like a Honda.
Yeah.
But but yeah, okay, so
That's the studio heads thing. That's why in Deadpool he went to the mansion. He was talking about it's like the studio.
Well, I knew him.
Yeah.
He was owned by the same studio that the X-Men. I can't remember whether it was Sony or Fox. I keep forgetting. Because when I think Marvel, I just think, oh yeah, the mouse.
Yeah.
The mouse owns Marvel, the mouse owns Star Wars, the mouse owns
the mouse did something brilliant where they bought all the B-list characters and went, hey, these are actually cool characters. Let's do something that's never been done before in cinema. And they did it.
Right.
And now everybody else is like, fuck, we should do that too.
Oh, yeah.
What do we have to work with?
Damn,
Wait,
should have bought
did
Disney stock.
they buy Marvel before or after Iron Man?
Before. They started the whole, like, we're going to create... Well, I mean, I don't think the head of Disney decided
Kevin
this.
Feige was like, hey, we can do this.
But
he was in on all
But
this.
Feige was saying, he's the producer on all of these movies.
Yeah.
He said, oh, I think I got a good idea of what we could do. We could make a whole shit ton of movies and make sure all of them get sold and everybody sees them because they're all going to interconnect.
They're all interconnected and they're all...
Stay on target.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's our signature for Morgan, who's not familiar,
That's
maybe,
our
or doesn't remember. I don't know if you were from the other ones.
Yeah.
You
We
heard
get
Sam
derailed every now and then.
It
Yeah.
happens.
It
We're
happens.
drinking. It's to be expected.
Darn it, I was about to add something to that too.
Oh, sorry.
No, I lost my train of thought.
Okay. Oh, jump.
I sort of felt that at the beginning,
Yeah.
it felt kind of slow. I mean, well, it's weird to
whole
say slow
pace
when
was
it starts out with all these stabbings, but yeah, like
That was that get you settled. That was
It's like
Semi-big action scene
hey,
at the beginning.
it's like hey everyone, there is
yeah.
going to be some bloody
Yeah.
shit.
I feel
Watch
like
and
that
kill
was
some
an
children.
afterthought.
The beginning?
Yeah.
No, the right in the beginning, the stabby.
Well,
I feel like that was an
like,
afterthought. I think they started the movie too slow and then said, "Shit, we should add
Yeah,
something."
we
in
need
there.
something in the beginning.
Yeah, we
Right,
need more
like
action.
it starts so slow. Let's
Yeah.
add something in here really
Yeah.
quick, and it won't take that long to shoot.
Which
Stabby. You know?
Which was really funny because he's and minor spoilers. It's the beginning of the movie, has nothing to do with the rest of it. He's sleeping in his car and people are trying to jack his car.
I love that.
Yeah.
And they're like,
I
fuck
fucking
it.
love that.
He's like, God damn it.
I love that.
It's like great joke where it's like he's more concerned about the car.
Yeah,
than
don't
his own
know about
body.
the car.
He's
Yeah.
not even really angry. He's just annoyed.
Well, he
Yeah.
knows
So
more
annoyed.
than
About the
they
car
get.
because that's his source of income. now.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
driving
Well, yeah,
a
let's. You're right. No,
in like
let's
an
get into
Uber
it.
limo
Yeah.
driver.
Let's get into it. The year is 2029.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2029.
yeah, and they do a pretty good
And
job.
Logan
at-
is old.
Yeah, they do a pretty good job at making it look kind of future-y, but like
Not so
but
like
not
you know,
like
it's
not
not.
like
Well,
they
make
don't
it look-
overdo
It's
it.
not like
They
the
make
Jetsons.
They make
Yeah.
it look like logical, like
Yeah.
logical expansion.
You're gonna
of what we
see
have
cars
now.
that
Yeah,
are made
like-
you see on the road now.
Yeah.
Like a really big screen in the hotel.
Yeah,
Right.
kind of like what they did in the.
Yeah.
What,
Yeah.
what was that? What was it? Children of Men did something kind of similar.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like- where it's
Children
like-
Man did a great
yeah,
job because
yeah.
you saw cars that like, especially the cars.
They
that were
like
so-
the cars
I was
have
like,
those little
that's-
projections.
Right, but I'm like,
Yeah,
yo, it has like a
but-
different kind of dashboard.
Yeah, but yeah,
That's
you,
a Scion with a different
Yeah.
bumper.
And it
Yeah,
looks like
yeah.
a Chrysler
That's
too.
exactly.
It's like this is like the 2020 design.
Right, but you know what?
Yeah.
Here's the thing I noticed. I saw cars that are 2 years old now in that movie.
Right.
Because they're
and
15-year-old cars.
That-
You're going to
that-
see some pieces of shit that are like 15 years old,
Yeah.
but that are brand new now.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know the truck he buys was like $8,000, but it was now it's a new truck.
It's a new Ram.
Yeah.
But all the cars are Chryslers.
See,
All the cars are Chryslers. There's a spoiler. Chrysler definitely paid Fiat Chrysler definitely paid money for this. Every car is a Chrysler. The limo is a Chrysler. The truck is a Chrysler.
yeah, they have the self-driving transport trucks.
Yeah. But
that
those
was-
are a thing. Those are a
were kind
thing.
of cool because they didn't. They just honk and say, "Get the fuck out of the way." They slow down.
I know.
They slow down a little so they can honk and then just
Well,
get
except
going.
for the ones that have apparently been programmed to
It's a murder.
To fuck-
ride
to fuck
that
with that
family
guy.
off
Yeah.
the road.
Right.
Yeah.
You
So,
gotta kill this family.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little like out of the blue though.
that was a
Well,
weird little
Yeah,
song.
yeah.
So-
It was sort of like one of those things where I was just sort of thinking. That person was thinking, oh shit, they're gonna get Logan, and like, oh wait, no, wait.
This has
wait,
nothing
what?
to do with Logan.
What
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah.
Nothing to do with that family.
Yeah.
the other car.
This corn
For
farmer
the-
family.
Were they wanting more powers? I'll save that for the spoiler.
Well, yeah, let's save it for the spoilers.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go. What's
We'll
going?
go, like,
Let's go. What's
loosely
going on?
through the plot.
Set the premise. I tried to start, but we
Basically, we're
it's 2029. Logan is old. All the X-Men are gone.
And he's not doing well.
No.
Physically
And there
or emotionally.
are no more mutants.
No, there's no more mutants.
There's no more mutants being
No
born. The last one was born 20 some odd years
Some
ago.
odd years ago, yeah. But that's it. The mutants are.
And he's doing what he can to take care of Professor X. That's not a spoiler. You've seen it in the show.
Yeah, and he's taking care
Yeah,
of Charles.
who has become a cranky old man with Alzheimer's.
He's not cranky.
Did you hear how many times he was like fuck you?
He's an old codgerty guy.
Yeah.
He's
But
a
you know-
nonagenarian.
Right, exactly. But also, he's really funny, but not always in that cranky way. He's like, I have to pee.
Yeah.
Love that. Nobody.
that was great.
Not one person in the theater did laugh
Yeah.
at that.
With someone with an elderly grandfather, it was just hit too close to home. It was just
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is
He's
so
still
exact.
I mean, he's still in the chair, but he has seizures. His powers, you get lost. You know,
Yeah,
you
his
get
powers-
loose every
yeah.
now and then.
When he has a seizure,
It fucks
everybody
everybody.
suffers, not because he is, because
Right.
he's fucking with everybody in the general area. It's just normal. Yeah.
And then
Freezes
I did
everybody.
like that scene.
Everybody's
Yeah.
They did it a couple times. Well, we'll get there.
I have to
And
But
say,
anyway, that's the premise. He's taking care of Professor X.
and there's a girl.
And there's a little girl.
Yeah.
Now,
and
we all
her character.
we all kind of have
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
from the trailer
Yeah,
the way they're holding hands.
Y'all kind of know.
We all kinda know, like,
y'all kind of know more or less what the beats
That's
are going to
be
but,
his
yeah.
daughter character, whether
Yeah.
it's biological or not. That's gonna be his daughter.
Yeah.
But of
Yeah, you
course,
can see that.
when he's introduced the daughter, he wants nothing to do with her.
Yeah,
he doesn't
of
want
course,
to take
of
her.
course.
Right,
Yeah.
but the
That's
daughter
what call.
and I guess a slew of other kids
Yeah.
have powers
Yeah.
that have been.
Wait, you're in the spoiler.
We're setting the premise. I mean, you want to finish with the premise?
I mean, that's it.
That's the
Right?
premise.
We're
Yeah,
done.
that- yeah.
All
It's
right.
an escort mission. He
So
has
now
to
let's
get
move
her
into
somewhere.
spoilers.
Yeah. We're
So-
in spoilers
And
now.
yeah.
There's a little girl that gets dropped off by one of the mothers from Orange is the New Black. That
Yeah.
Rachel, eagle-eyed Rachel spotted. I was like, that's one of the mothers. That's Dinah's.
Diet.
Dia. That's Dia's mother. And I was like, oh yeah, she looks familiar, sure. Is escorting her, trying to get her to Logan.
Let's finish up, not spoilers, with what we all think good movie, bad movie.
No, we'll say that to the end.
Save it to the end?
Say it to the end.
Okay.
Say it to the end. Let's go through it all. Yeah,
Let's go through the whole thing, yeah.
We'll have a more informed decision
It's
after we
really-
hear everybody else's
It's
shit.
because
Because we're all thinking similar things, but a few different.
It's a really basic escort mission for basics for spoilers with
Well,
too little power.
this
Yeah.
middle-aged woman drops off this little girl.
Yeah.
Or tries to keep getting
Tries
in
to buy
touch.
Logan because he's
Tries-
an Uber driver.
Tries to keep getting in touch with Logan.
Yeah.
And specifically Logan.
Because she knows, right?
Because she knows.
Yeah.
She makes a little video, says, listen, if I've been killed already, I'm going to tell you, this is your daughter. They used your DNA to make her in a lab.
It was kind of annoying where so it's like there's that woman where she's like, oh, look, I am being hunted. Here's $20,000, please help us. And then
Well, he is.
Yeah,
he don't give a fuck.
and then Logan, it's like he kind
I'm
of
sick of saving people.
it's like he kind of agrees to do it.
Well, here's the money.
Yeah, he wants the
yeah.
money.
And then,
He
and
says
then
I have to go take care of something first and I'll be back. And because he has to
Well,
go
I
make
mean-
one more delivery of medicine.
Right. Because he's running medicine.
Yeah.
And
It's not like he doesn't intend to come back. When she texts him to say, please hurry, he says, I'm on my way.
Yeah, I gotta go get
And like he
medicine
is
for Professor
in
X.
his way of getting in the car
Yeah,
when
because
he
that was kind of a sort of, I guess, kind of like a thing that bothered me sort of throughout the story with when there's enemies at your tail and they never seem to be quite in enough of a hurry that they should have been.
Yeah, but at that point he had no idea who the enemies were.
Yeah.
Well,
he didn't, but she did.
He's escorting. Supposedly, he's escorting after this woman is murdered. because the lab guys who made these kids.
Well, I don't think she was murdered. She was injured in the escape.
No, she was totally
She was
murdered.
murdered. She was like
When he
sitting
shows
in a
up
chair.
in the motel room, she's dead.
They were looking for the kid because they want to get the kids back. She used to work at the lab.
Yeah.
So there were all these
she was
kids
there,
that were
yeah.
all like 10 years
Yeah,
old
yeah.
that they made from all the DNA from all the X-Men, presumably, or
different
or
mutants
mutants like
and
them.
stuff.
Different mutants they come
So
across,
they
yeah,
kind of wanted
yeah.
to like make their own mutants, and thereby we can control these ones because they're not natural. We made them in a lab. So they
we
tried.
have
Right.
Look at them as kids.
Right,
They're
so
things.
this woman helps a bunch of them escape, yet holds on to one of them.
Oh,
The rest
No,
of
it
them,
was
like
just that
in-
she and
yeah,
all
in
of the
the-
nurses were going
Yeah,
to
in
the
the-
escape.
yeah,
And
basically-
so, like, each nurse was taking a
Each
certain
nurse did
kid
the same
or
thing.
group of
Right,
kids.
Yeah,
Right, so-
I got the sense
so apparently
that, like,
each nurse is murdered.
yeah,
And all
like
the
in
kids.
the chaos, basically she was only able
She
to
was the
get
only
one.
nurse.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
But these people want their kids back. They want to keep them in isolation.
They want to destroy them.
They want to destroy them because they have
Because they wanted to use them
Right, not
before.
isolation.
Because-
They want to kill them.
Because they tried to use them as weapons. That was the whole purpose of designing them.
Right.
But then they found out that these kids, who, even though
They don't
they
wanna
hadn't
fight.
been raised as kids, they didn't want to fight, and they were trying to kill themselves
Right.
Yeah.
rather than being used as weapons.
Right.
So then they developed X-24, which was completely devoid of
Right.
her individual will.
Yeah,
It's a
and,
rage
and
monster.
we now have an X-Men movie with child suicide in it.
We do. We have one kid
Yeah.
jumping off a cliff.
And it's odd that they didn't show that they
That's
didn't.
a roof.
pan-
Or a cliff. No,
No,
you're right. It was a
he
roof.
jumped off. He jumped
Yeah,
off the
it was
roof,
going,
and it's
yeah.
odd that they didn't show that overlook
Oh, yeah.
shot of all that. That was just kind of like.
I think like
was
that.
odd, yeah.
It's like I sort of felt. I sort of felt.
I thought he was
like,
gonna start flying away.
I sort of felt that that's like the line they're not gonna
Yeah.
cross. Like we have
They're
our
not
rating.
gonna show
We
us
can
a
say fuck.
splattered-
We can do all this gory things.
We're
Are
not
we
gonna
gonna show
show
child
the
death?
We'll harpoon a 10-year-old girl through the heart. Only she can heal, so we can show it.
Right. They did that. They did. They totally harpooned a little girl.
At first,
in
I'm
the
like, ow. Oh, okay, she can heal. It's alright.
I think they built it up knowing that, like, the audience knows she's not going to die. From
Yeah.
this.
No,
Yeah.
it was great too because she was more annoyed than bothered by it.
Well,
Fuck, slam, slow down, keep
She
going.
is her
Yeah.
father's daughter.
Yeah, totally.
So the whole premise basically is they all read about this in the X-Men comic books.
Yeah,
So-
there are.
Yeah, apparently there's
X-Men.
someone's like, hey,
Well,
let's
that-
record these exploits.
Which totally makes sense because if superheroes walk by us, you can be damn sure one of the comic book companies would pick them up and say, we're going to write comics.
Also, let me just say that I think this might be one of the first dystopian stories where there is a place called Eden, which actually does kind of exist.
And Eden is apparently the sanctuary where the mutant kids are hoping to go to, where they will all be safe
In Canada.
in Canada. Canada.
Because
So
there's
because
no
it's in the
metaphor
co-
at all of
because it's-
Americans trying to go to Canada.
Because
no reason.
It's in the comic books. And kids read comic books. They read all the stories about the X-Men. And they kind of have powers, so they feel a kinship kind of with these stories. So the whole point is, a little girl, Laura, wants to go to Eden because presumably that's where all the other kids went. They got separated in the escape.
And it's where she'll be okay.
Yeah.
And it's where she'll be safe because, of course, that's the end game. That's the finish line. So her caretaker, the nurse, Aya's mother from Orange is the New Black, is murdered. Now it's just left down to her, Logan, and Professor X. And Professor X, I mean, he's on his way out, kind of, with the brain problems. He's having seizures and shit. Logan ain't doing so good. These guys are showing their fucking age.
Yeah, which is
The odometer has clicked
Yeah.
over once too many times for
Yeah.
these guys.
And Caliban. Let's not forget about Caliban
Yeah.
either.
That's true. Very true.
And when he showed up, I'm like, who's this guy?
Right. True.
And I like that it was the same actor that they had from X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah.
It was the same actor.
Why not? What else is he
Well, it's a
doing?
shared universe because Fox owns
Right,
them all. That was
right.
kind of cool too.
Why not? What else is he doing?
I'm almost kind of wondering if Deadpool 2 will start with those kids showing up and him being
knows?
pissed off that they took too long.
Maybe.
And being like, all right, here they're coming. Let's go. Give my money. Done.
Well, I mean, I think we
just
set up the
have
premise.
yeah.
The people from the lab are hunting them because they want to get her back so they can kill her.
Yeah, they're basically failed experiments to create weapons
Right.
after they. And that bit of exposition by
I think
Grant
that's
was
the
way
whole
too
premise.
quick.
Every time I mention a plot point, we all go off on talking about it. So
Yeah.
I think I pulled this through. That's the premise, and that's
Yeah.
the whole story.
It's like
Okay.
basically the lab that created
I'm done.
these,
Go to
that
spoilers.
created these kids destroyed. It almost seems like the possibility for mutants, and his little speech at the end. Like everybody had a bit of exposition at the end about this is the world. This is that.
Yeah, well, it's like
Yeah.
I mean, as far as evil plans go, it wasn't the worst evil plan.
No, it was a good plan. It was a good plan, but he fell down inside of the arrogance because it was working up until that point, and he got him killed because he thought it was working, basically.
The amount of henchmen they lost along the way, you'd
Well,
think that they would have a hard time hiring after that.
Seriously.
That union is probably so underfunded.
It's like, here's your-
Talk about these.
They all have metal arms, so they must be like, hey, don't worry if you get your arm frozen off, we'll put it on this metal.
I'm sorry, I don't think
They better be getting
Obamacare
some
does
serious
not
overtime
cover
for that.
henchmen. There's no way Obamacare covers henchmen.
Well,
It
if,
just can't. It
if
just
actual recent
that is a
history shows
pre-existing
anything,
condition that we can't.
there's plenty of assholes out there that you can pay to do shitty stuff.
True, true, very true.
These aren't just regular henchmen.
Well, yeah,
These are robotically enhanced henchmen.
well, they all come
Yeah,
from
they're
that
assholes.
lab. They all come from that lab.
Yeah, but they're not
Well, no,
mutants.
they all
humans
work in a
with.
place where they can get their limbs replaced
Right,
if
exactly.
they fuck up on the job.
So like
Right,
when
that's
they,
true.
Yeah.
so when they've run into other heroes,
Yeah.
they lose an arm because Wolverine cut it off 10 years ago. They'll make it get a robot arm. Go after him again.
But they all seem to have robotic arms, so at least
That's
they all kind of screwed up at some point, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Well, I
And they
mean,
wind up losing a astonishing number of them to Wolverine stabbing them through both eyes.
Yeah.
That was one of his preferred
well, I
moves.
think. Well,
Also under the chin.
well, don't
Yeah.
you think that has to do with the arms?
What?
I'd like to think, in my heart of hearts, deep down in the cockles of my heart, that all these henchmen are all the same henchmen from previous X-Men movies.
They got their
and Wolverine cut their fucking arms off.
Yeah.
And they're like, we got you beat now, man. Metal arm, bitch.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, enough of this.
Yeah.
And then he stabbed
through the head.
He stabbed like every person through the head because
Well, that's how you feel a human being.
He got a few people through the chest.
Yeah.
that's true.
Most
Vital
people-
organs and vital
most
organs are through the head. Yeah.
Most
But,
people were through the head.
but he went for the death. He wasn't just cutting off.
No, he was.
No,
yeah.
he was very like every stroke is gonna kill someone.
Yeah,
I'm
this was
tired
back
of this
this
fucking
time.
This
bullshit.
was not like early 2000s X-Men movies.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No. This
This
is
is-
very much like we're going for the death kill every single time. And you know what? I love that.
Yeah.
I
That was
loved
great.
it. What I wanted to see was him stab somebody so hard through the chest through a tree that the tree fell over.
Yeah, but you
Kind
know
of
what?
like shake and bam, and
Yeah.
then the tree
Oh, yeah.
falls over too.
Oh no,
Yeah.
shake and bam fall over.
Yeah,
I
you know,
like
I don't
going
think-
through them
I don't
and then
think he ever
going
did
and
like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the stabbing like the
stab
wow.
and rip
He
them in
didn't do
half.
that. He didn't do
Stab
that.
and rip them in
So
half.
bad.
I'm
Yeah.
great with that.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. And if he wants to take a tree and have
No, it's like
That would
it
look so
was
good.
in a way it was kind of the kids who gave the most disturbing deaths.
Well, the
Oh,
kids-
God.
the-
yeah.
Are we in spoiler territory?
Yeah.
yeah.
Can we talk about
The kids
death
did
The kids were
of
the
the
most
main bad guy
innocent.
when
That
the
was
kids?
awesome.
The
That
kids
was
were the
so
most
great.
innocent, like little fire ants, all crowding around him and shit, getting their
And
The
each
bad guy
one
is
of
on-
them inflicting their
Well,
powers
one
against
can,
him.
Yeah,
one
they're
can
like,
electrocute
hang on.
him, one can grow vines and
Can
suffocate
control
him.
plants.
Yeah.
Another, what was the other one?
What the girl who can freeze things was freezing him.
was freezing him.
I
Yeah.
heard his neck snap. at
Yeah.
one
The
point.
electricity guy was shooting through electricity.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, they were all
Thank
kind of
God.
like, wait, don't kill him. I gotta get mine in too.
Yeah.
Torture him first.
Yeah.
Yeah, like let
Exactly.
this,
My turn.
let this be slow. Let's savor this.
Yeah,
one.
let's kind of
Yeah,
hope
because
that.
Dr. What's his face, he just got blown off in the middle of a
Oh
sentence.
fuck! I love
Yeah.
that.
That
was
was so
awesome.
great.
No, that was classic Deadpool for the first movie.
Oh yeah, exactly. He's
Which
like,
is-
let me explain this long thing
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Shut the head and then
Yeah,
the
bam.
hand shut off.
They did that a few times in the movie when
Yeah,
you think they're setting up like
it's
something.
perfect.
She hits this gun, you figure, oh, they're gonna like metal this out.
Draw this
She's
out.
gonna like take a while to be able to load the
No,
bullets.
no,
She's gonna
no.
take this. It's gonna take forever. No, she gets it. Bam, blows his head off right in the middle
Bam,
of his
dead,
long dramatic
over.
speech.
Yeah.
He's gonna give us his whole evil plan. No, fuck that. Boom, you're
Oh
dead.
wait, no. She killed X-23.
24.
She killed X-24. Why did I say 23?
She is X-23.
She's X-23, right?
Yeah.
All right, she killed X-24 while he was about to do like the death kill, the final blow,
yeah,
the coup de grace on Logan. He killed the doctor
That's right,
with the
yeah.
pistol when he was down on the ground. And he was like, "Do you want me to explain my tale of
Yeah.
my
did all
plan?"
that, and then-
Well, this is how it went down, and then bam!
Yeah.
It's like fucking it. That's exactly how that would go
And
down.
he blew
I'm
off
so
the
glad.
villains. He blew off the villains' robotic hand.
Yeah.
Two shots. Bam.
Right, 2 shots.
And then
You know
went
what?
for it. Yeah.
Obviously, I gotta say this: the people who made this movie clearly saw Deadpool 1.
Yes.
Yeah, they did.
No, well, that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Same studio.
Well,
Yeah, but not necessarily.
he jabbed at the Wolverine and everything.
Yeah.
So really, they're like, oh yeah, we can do something like that too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, but this is like a little different.
I'd almost have to say
the
when they're
crew that made
making this movie,
Deadpool
we
was
can
like
do
super
all
low budget outlaws, so they could get a character that nobody really has
no,
heard of or
he-
seen on the big
no,
screen.
On the big screen, yeah.
And knows how to really do in a kid-friendly way, since all the other X-Men movies that they own,
Yeah.
they're all kind of
Well, I
kid-friendly.
mean,
Yeah.
So they said we're gonna go our own way. We're gonna keep your huge budgets. We'll take a medium budget, and we'll be able to do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah, so we can get it made.
Right. So we can do the movie the way we want to do it, and you guys will buy it. So, but yeah, I get what you're saying, shared studio. I have a hard time really 100% calling Deadpool 1 at least. We haven't seen the second one yet. If we're watching this in the future and Deadpool 2 is awesome in a studio movie, forget what I'm saying. But Deadpool 1, the only one we have right now, I have a hard time 100% saying that's a studio movie. I see a lot of
No, it's not a
middle
studio
fingers
movie.
to the studio.
But it's the same studio.
You know, I get you, but
And
this
especially after-
was
studio.
it is, but this was a studio movie
Deadpool's the
made
highest
by
grossing
guys who
movie.
saw the bunny that came out of Deadpool
Good.
1 and said,
And
we need to do what they do.
Deadpool made the most movie out of all of the movies
Yeah.
with the X-Men franchise with Fox.
Yeah,
So I have no doubt at some point they're like, oh, you work for Fox and you're in this division.
Oh, yeah.
You have to watch Deadpool.
you're like, you should do what
You
those
have to-
guys
yeah.
did. Because it wasn't the same
Get back
director,
to
it wasn't
this.
the same
No.
DP, it wasn't the same, like, I'm sure there's a few shared Fox employees on this one, but it wasn't the same actual crew that put it together.
No.
It wasn't the same producers.
No, you could sense that they watched it. Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
definitely watched it. And you know what? That was the smartest fucking thing they could do.
Yeah.
Because they saw, look, everybody loves Deadpool. Everybody loves it.
Deadpool's more about
This
the
is-
dialogue than anything
Right.
that's actually
We can-
happening on screen.
this is what we
and
need to
that's
do.
What
This
you
is-
need
we
to
need
do.
to
Yeah.
do
We can
exactly
actually make money making a rated R movie, which is something
Yeah.
studios are terrified to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
No, we
Yeah.
gotta get to see kids in there. We gotta get
Right.
teenagers in there.
And it's stupid because they know kids are going to see it anyway.
Still gonna
Yeah.
see it.
They're going to walk in
and,
with a...
and the fact that there are a bunch of kids who grew up on comic book movies,
Right.
Yeah.
and are
Yeah.
now 20s and 30s, and that's like a big thing now.
I don't know about you, but at the same time I was at the comic book reading stage of my life, I was still watching rated R movies.
Oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
At the same time, I'm like reading fucking the Hulk comic or
Yeah.
Ninja
I didn't
Turtle
wait till I was 18
I'm
to
watching,
watch Terminator
yeah,
2.
I'm
I
also
started as a
watching.
kid.
Yeah, I'm watching Alien and Die Hard, and then I'm like, I'm gonna read a comic. Nice. But there was no separation there.
No, there
that
isn't, yeah.
generic, like it was arbitrary. That's stupid. Like it's rated R. Good. That means it'll be good.
That's when PG-13 was like today's R's, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Or it's not even PG. I don't think there was PG-13.
Right. No, there's PG-13. Right?
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
No, PG-13 is pretty new. That came along in the 80s.
No, PG.
Well, it came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
30
which is
years
when we
ago.
were watching.
That's 30 years ago.
That's
Okay.
30 years ago.
Yeah.
That's older than you.
But PG-13 in the past, PG-13 in the past was boobs,
Oh, yeah.
Boobs?
Some sex, yeah, a little bit of boobs, some sex, blood,
Lots
death.
well, like RoboCop.
No,
Yeah.
RoboCop is PG-13.
Stay on target.
No, I'm pretty sure RoboCop was R.
RoboCop was R.
Yeah, and I mean, like,
RoboCop
yeah,
was R.
basically,
I don't think they got away with any nudity in PG-13.
PG-13, you can show
You can
almost,
say-
you can
say
show
shit.
almost anything as long as there are no
nipples.
blood,
No
no
nipples.
boobs, and no fucks.
No, you can have one fuck.
Yeah.
No, you can have
You are allowed to
have
say fuck once.
no, you can have one fuck
Yeah.
and a handful of shits.
Yeah, bullshit, yeah.
I want you all to picture a handful of shits.
Oh, no.
I got it. Okay, if we
Alright,
got
yeah.
that visual in mind right now.
You can have a very small number of shits and like one fuck. No, there's never any nudity in PG-13.
Well, not
I
back
never
today.
remember. No, back then.
You can
Like that.
see, sometimes you can see
Side
like
boob.
silhouetted side boobs.
Side boob.
As long as you don't see nipples,
But-
it's okay. But
yeah.
you can't see butt,
No,
and you
no butt.
definitely can't see anything below the waist from the front.
No ding dong.
No cracking, like watch like it's like from the side. You can't actually see anything.
Yeah, you can see like the side of a
Okay,
sheet.
let's
But
But again, we're so far off target.
But what I did like about this rated R movie
Yes.
was the groans every time you'd see just the groans from the audience every time
Yes.
Yeah.
Wolverine would take someone's eye out, see the blades.
Oh.
People were flinching.
I
Yes.
loved how the little girl who like barely talked for the entire movie
Yeah.
just emitted these primal screams every time she fought someone. It was amazing.
Well, her silent Bob routine ends.
Yeah.
And all of a
Just
sudden,
kind of
all of a sudden
because.
she explodes into Spanish. We're like, okay, so he's
And
gonna
I
he's
did
gonna
like that they
understand.
didn't subtitle it.
Yeah, I
No,
know.
well, no,
So
because,
it doesn't matter. She can speak.
no, it doesn't matter because
Yeah.
he was like just as confused because he doesn't speak
He doesn't know
Spanish.
what the
Right,
fuck
talk
she's
this whole
saying.
time.
Right,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden she breaks down, starts speaking English. I was like,
Yeah.
son of a bitch.
Okay, but see, here's one of my first.
But yeah, I'm super glad they did something.
Let me bring up a complaint.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and it's sort of a minor thing, but it kind of bugged me.
Are you gonna talk about good guys living too long?
No.
Okay.
So,
am, but
we have all of these children,
There's like a dozen.
who had the exact same experience
Yes.
of being
Oh yes, I know where you're getting at. Yeah.
created in this lab in Mexico,
Yeah.
raised by Spanish-speaking nurses. Why is Laura the only one with a Mexican accent?
And the oldest boy speaks English
Yeah,
perfectly.
no accent
And
at all.
no
She's
What the hell?
She's also-
I don't understand.
she's also the only Latina, by the way.
Well,
Well,
that
she's vague.
I assume no. That's some of the other kids.
Yeah. Was it?
Latino, yeah.
There's
That,
some.
and that
I
was
see a blonde hair kid. I see a black
And that
kid.
was-
So some
I see
lizard
the
another.
kid.
main kid who was leading things.
Well, see, you have to
But-
think
I
of
thought I
them
saw an
as
Asian kid in
But
there.
that
two babies.
I thought that kid was
I'm
like.
trying to answer your thing and you're talking over me. That is explained because the nurse in her video explains that the mothers of these kids were accurately the incubators,
Right.
have
Yeah.
basically been young women stolen off of the streets of Mexico
Yeah.
City.
And then disappeared.
And there's nothing to suggest that those couldn't be tourists of whatever ethnicity.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
the way the kids look, ethnicity-wise, like that part didn't bother me. They're just stealing whatever young women
I was
can
just more
find.
curious.
It was just the accent thing that drove me insane because theoretically, all of these kids are learning to speak from the same
Nurses.
Spanish-speaking nurses. So why is only this one speaking in heavily accented
The
English?
only counter I have to that is that he seemed to be the oldest one.
No, but even like the other kids, like to be fair, we didn't hear them speak very much.
Yeah.
But like the little boy who was the electrocuting kid, he didn't have a Spanish accent.
He didn't?
At all?
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
And then similar line, slightly different. So the nurse goes on at length in that video about how these kids have never seen the sun. They've never been outside. They don't know anything about the real
Yeah,
world.
that's true.
And she knows how to drive.
Yeah, she just jumps in there.
Yeah,
Well, from,
they're- all the
presumably
kids,
from
they're a
watching
bit-
him.
They're
Presumably
they're-
from watching
with the way
him.
they're brought up, they're all
Yeah,
a bit
but
more functional
still.
than they probably should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, especially because at first she's presented to us as not functional at all. But like even that was not consistent.
She was 11 at first.
Even that was not not
from Stranger
consistent.
Things. She was 11.
Yeah, but
But even that was not consistent because when they're at the dinner with the farmer's family, she's shoveling food into her face with her hands, and
She's acting like an animal,
he
yeah.
has to put his hand on her. But when we first met her at that weird plant in the
She's
desert,
eating cereal?
She was eating cereal with a spoon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, all of a sudden she doesn't know what a fork is for.
Yeah.
well, I will say this: when she was eating cereal with a spoon, she was in really close proximity to Professor X, who said he's been communicating
she
with her
was sitting right
specifically.
next to Professor X at the dinner
Yeah.
table when she was shoveling mashed potatoes into her face with her hands.
Yeah,
too.
it's a weird, it's a problem.
I feel
understand,
like
yeah.
one of those was maybe a filmed later inconsistency.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea of them bringing in her, and she's like 11 years old, and she was made in a lab, and she has superpowers.
Yes,
It
yes.
reminds me of
It
an
could've-
awesome Netflix series.
Yeah,
I
it
saw.
could have been like if she's
She didn't look like her.
yeah, if,
She did, right? She did
like
kind
if
of
like if she
without
was
the hair, you know.
if she was like given she was probably like given the cereal and then given a spoon and then she can figure it out. But like
I guess.
but like at a dinner table
I
where
don't know.
she wasn't given direction.
Give her some waffles and pancakes like 11.
It's a weird.
She'll be fine
It's
with
a. I'll fall on this. It's a weird little forced thing that comes too late in the story.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Well,
Agreed.
more than that, though,
Because it's been shown previously she can sit calmly and eat.
Exactly.
When she's around a bunch of people, we've got to shovel this.
Exactly.
The only caveat is maybe she knows these people are going to come, so any minute. It shouldn't have gone down that
when
way.
they get sidetracked by the family in the car,
Yeah.
Yeah.
on
The
the
first-
side of the road there, he's like, we gotta help them. No, we don't.
And the
no,
first
we gotta
thought-
help them. Okay,
Yeah.
fine, we'll help them.
My
And
first thought
we'll
was-
get involved in their lives.
Yeah,
Well,
and like
they're dead.
and, like
Yeah, well, see,
These characters, as far as we know, play nothing into the plot of the story, and and you know what, they really don't.
and then they're like,
My other thought
They
was,
really don't.
My other thought was we already helped them because we got the horses back and we're done.
Right, that's their help. Go home and live your lives, and
and then they go, oh, we
Stay
gotta
alive.
invite
Then
them over.
I
yeah, it
understand
turns out
that.
it's the worst mistake.
And then
they've
once
ever made.
dinner is over, no, you have to stay here.
Yeah.
Well, see, I understand that because
It's just the worst mistake that family ever made.
Yeah.
They
Here's the
stay
thing.
over.
Wolfie needed to have the family moment. Needed to have like the happy family and look at them and have the thought of I want that.
no,
True.
we had
He does
to.
want that.
Okay, we had to have
True.
that for the movie.
And
But
then
we
father pulls
also
a shotgun on
Well,
him.
and it also gave Professor X
Yes.
as his last day
yeah.
the happiest day he'd had in a
Yeah.
long
Yeah,
time.
we had to have that
I'm
because
happy
Professor
that I've
X has been
Yeah.
that grumpy, losing his fucking mind grandpa inside of a steel fucking cage for the last
Right.
at least
Who
year.
knows
So
how
it's like,
long, yeah.
Who knows
We're
how
out. We're out.
Well, a
we're
year,
out
because
in the
whatever
wild.
happened in Westchester.
Right, a year. Yeah, you're right.
Let's go do this thing.
Yeah. He's clearly
nobody's
starved for human
It's
contact.
like we know people are actually chasing us, but we don't see them. So let's just take a moment right now and see what happens.
He's clearly starved for human
That
contact.
falls inside
He knows
my,
he's
my
dying.
problems with
He
the
knows
movie,
Logan's
yeah.
dying and
Yeah.
needs some human contact.
Yeah.
And he knows that this child has not had enough human contact and needs to see what
Three birds
Yeah.
with one stone.
real
Yeah.
human family looks like.
Can we get starting into problems?
I think we already did, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a problem with the whole sequence with this family. Not a scene necessarily, but two ones that I can think of. And
Well, I know one you're thinking of.
Oh yeah, but you know what? It's two. It is
Okay.
two. It's the whole sequence with the family that's in the middle of like the cornfields. That family. First off, X-24. They send him in as a wild man to go murder the little girl, murder Professor X. Basically, clean up all these mistakes that the laboratory doesn't.
I don't
want.
think we've talked about X-24 though. Do you want to introduce like
Oh,
what
yeah.
X-24 is?
Oh, X-24 is a clone of Logan.
Yeah.
That's all he
But-
is.
Yeah.
But he's an engineer,
Raised-
and it's
engineered
right.
to just be
no
purely
conscience, just rage.
rage,
Well,
No
okay.
conscience.
violence.
But that's
What he
it. That's
actually
it. He's a
is,
younger
he-
version of Hugh Jackman.
He's the remote control version, like Deadpool was in fucking X-Men Origins Wolverine. The remote control version clone of Wolverine. That's what he is.
Okay. Okay.
Exactly what he is, because they were watching what he was doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was under the control of the evil
Yeah.
scientist.
No, but
Yeah.
they send his ass in, who's just the rage. Only is just berserker every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
he
under
has.
control is in air quotes here.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big bunny ears in the air right there.
He only listens to the doctor.
Right.
And
Yeah.
even then, he doesn't.
Right, but he goes in there to
Yeah.
essentially capture the girl so they could bring her back and kill her.
And kill everything that gets
instead of
in the
just
way.
kill her.
Yeah.
That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Why they just murder her right away?
Because the doctor was clearly
They
interested
just
in
wanna find-
preserving the DNA.
Yeah.
Because remember when we see him in the room with all of the bodies and he points to Caliban's body and
They
he says
couldn't-
harvest some of the DNA.
Harvest
You're
some
right.
If
You're
you
right.
can track him and
They
he
couldn't
has a
figure
high
out a
IQ,
way with a guy who just slashes people to death to figure out how we're going to get a piece of their DNA.
Yeah.
I think they would have picked up her entrails and done it, but yeah, I still couldn't
But
figure
if-
out why they were capturing her.
But if she,
Exactly.
okay, I'll say this: why they wanted to capture them, because if they capture them instead of killing them, they can.
Well, now we're talking about the
no.
motive.
No, in the cheap.
I said
they
20
can
minutes
take the
ago
skeleton
they're
and
out
put
to
that.
capture
They
them.
can.
You guys
take-
all said they were there.
They
to kill
can
them.
take the skeleton of that body and put the brain that's in X-24 in these bodies and still use
Yeah,
them.
yeah. I just assumed
they can
it's like
Frank-
and not have to start.
They
from- yeah,
wanted
they
to do
can
like
Frank-
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, because at one point when he's looking at the police force, the guy's like, "You said you wanted them dead or alive," and the doctor's like, "Well," and clearly is
Yeah.
irritated with that and would rather
Yeah.
have them alive.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So
he
like,
goes.
yes, if it comes to it, dead or alive,
So
but
he goes in there, and X-24 that is, goes in there, captures, locks up in these crazy cuffs.
so first stabs Professor X.
First stabs Professor X in his sleep right through the chest with his fucking Wolverine claws.
As he's
right,
given his expedition his best day ever.
right. Stabs him
But I
right
don't
through.
deserve it because I've done terrible
Right.
things.
Stabs this weak old man right through the chest. Then,
And then surprise!
then they go out. He captures Laura, and then there's a struggle and the fight with the family.
Right.
Kills the fucking wife.
Shred through the family.
Yeah, shreds through the son.
Kills
shreds
the
through
teenage
wife,
son.
The teenage son, the wife. They're gone. They're dead and gone. The father, though, he's thought to be dead because of X-24 killing him, seemingly in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
But it turns out he's not dead. He comes back. Okay, here's my problem. Here's why it's two separate scenes. The one scene, even though it's one sequence, the one scene is when the father comes back to life. The other scene is when Professor X comes back to life. This motherfucker killed a human and Professor X, who's weak as shit. How the fuck did either one of those two come back to life? I ain't buying that. I don't care how cheap you make it. I ain't
It's not so
buying it.
much come back to life as
No,
as
how
much as it were.
survive.
Well,
Somehow
it's-
we're not dead yet.
It's a total Ex Machina plot.
They
Yeah,
did both die.
Yeah, but Patrick Stewart was
neither of them
basically
survived.
dying anyway.
They both died. Neither of them survived.
Yeah, I know. No, they
But they
survived.
both-
But guys,
They lasted
we
an extra
need to
3
have
seconds.
a
Patrick-
poignant monologue where
Patrick
Logan
Stewart
Logan can die, and there's
No,
that.
Professor
there's
X
that
should
final-
not have been allowed to give
Professor
that.
X did-
It
yeah.
should not have been allowed to
Professor
give that
X.
little speech on his dying wish speech to Logan.
It
He
was
should.
just a stab
No,
in
he
the
should have been
chest.
dead
Yeah,
right
he's
away.
Dying, but not dead.
I'm sorry if I stab you in the chest.
I will die, but I will not be dead. I will slowly die, but I'll have enough time to have a little monologue afterwards. If I
You're gonna
wanted
get
to.
tossed around and dragged down the flight of stairs and in the back of a truck. And
No, he's
Like, you're-
been stabbed through the chest.
in presumably the heart.
Yeah.
He missed
I
the
will
heart.
say this.
Okay?
I know that you
I
said
will
it.
say
Sorry,
this.
it was just
I think
the chest.
I
They
think
made
I,
it- they made it
I think you're
show-
splitting hairs.
It was a mortal wound.
They
but
made
was
it
on-
point
I
to
think
show
you're.
that it was in the middle of the chest.
I think you're splitting hairs, picking. Yeah, I
It
think.
was a
I
mortal
think you're
wound,
picking that
not
shit out of
instant
pepper.
death.
I think you're splitting hairs, man.
Yeah.
He was in the chest
Mortal
of a
wounds.
sick and dying old man with fucking dementia.
Yeah,
A second dying old man who is still a mutant, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, his brain. If he stabbed him in the brain, I'd say he could survive that. Because he's Professor X. That's all he's got.
Well,
That's his
and
thing.
does not the brain
What?
control the body?
Well, there you go.
The
So
most powerful brain on the planet.
you're right. He'd be dead anyway. Thank you, guys.
He can
See,
hang
he'd
on
be
for
dead.
a
I
little
don't
bit.
get how he survived. And then, of course, the human father.
Oh, I assume for him it's just adrenaline.
I don't
Yeah,
know
that-
how
I
the
think
fuck.
That was the
I-
further
on-
the
on-
plot.
well,
This
you
was
know,
a plot device.
I assumed a plot device.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's all it was.
I didn't assume a Jedi.
He got stabbed once.
I
Yeah, I
assumed.
think it was like in the side. Yeah.
He got
I
stabbed in the side and
assumed-
thrown
I
aside.
assumed they needed
done.
they
Yeah.
needed some kind of vengeance because
Yeah.
X-24 came in, killed his wife, killed his son. presumably killed him. So we need someone to
But they did. Okay.
to
they
actually
did,
give it to him in some
They
venues.
did
It's
wrap
not going to be
it,
Logan.
they did
It's
wrap
going to be
it
the
up in that he didn't care
yeah.
because these two people, these two different people for us as the audience, were killing everybody. But from his point, it's the same face, so he's trying to kill everybody.
Yeah, and he ran out of ammo.
He
when
ran
he
out of
actually
ammo.
when he pointed at Logan.
And then
They
he dropped
conveniently
dead
plopped
because
down dead.
There was
And they
not
pushed-
enough time to do anything else.
Right, and then
Yeah.
he conveniently plops down there. Conveniently.
Yeah.
He only lasted long enough to presumably kill X-24. Of course, nobody in the audience actually
See,
plot
why-
X-24
No, he was
dead.
just temporarily stopped.
He was just like, I'm
because
done
he was
for right
pinned
now.
between the truck and the.
Right, he's pinned. He got shot in the
And
head.
then they've got the convenient green goo to
Right, the
inject
green
into
goo.
all that.
The super goo.
The
yeah.
super goo.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
See, those are my two problems.
I didn't like the super goo.
I wanted,
There was too much of a quick
as I was
fix.
watching the
It was like
movie,
the writer ran out of ideas. How are we going
It's
to solve
like,
this
as I was
problem?
watching the movie and I saw what his seizures did to people,
Yeah.
I knew exactly what happened to all the X-Men because he was Professor X at the mansion, and the first time he had a seizure and it was completely out of control, and it killed all the fucking X-Men. That's why they're not around. I wanted
okay.
that fucking night. I wanted a dream sequence.
Yeah, it was.
I wanted
really
that
vague.
nightmare fucking dream
okay,
sequence.
so I kept wondering if like there was something that happened in the last X-Men movie that I missed because I haven't seen an X-Men movie since 2003.
Yeah,
but,
well, they've been doing the prequels ever since.
Well, because there was
that
all
is
this
good.
talk about like what happened in Westchester,
Right.
and then
Well, that's
in
what the
his
mansion
like,
is, supposedly.
and then in his like
Supposedly.
almost dying, but he doesn't know he's about to die monologue when he thinks it's Logan in the room with him.
He says,
he's talking
"Oh,
about like I
yeah.
just remembered what I did a year ago.
Yeah, and that's
You know, you didn't tell me I did something terrible.
that's where you needed the dream
Right,
sequence.
and
that
there wasn't
killed
enough
all of the
exposition.
X-Men.
No, it wasn't.
It was
no,
way
it
too
wasn't.
vague.
They
Yeah.
could have
It could've
said
been.
something. But I make you bet that you're not going to have the budget.
Well,
to
see,
bring
that
back
falls
Halle Berry
down
and-
inside a
But
budget.
can't you at least like be a little more explicit about it? Then
They
be like,
could.
I remember what
They
happened
could.
a year ago.
Yeah,
I had
like-
a seizure
They-
and killed
They
everybody.
could.
Thank you.
They
Yeah,
could.
and
And
then-
make
and
you bet
that's
they
the
shot
dream-
it,
that's
and it
the
looked like
dream
shit
sequence.
without the actual
Yeah,
actor.
And I mean, like,
No, I make you bet
No,
that
I'm saying why didn't he just say it?
because they spent a lot of money on actually shooting a scene that mimics that, but without the actors because they're too expensive.
Yeah.
And it looked
He
like
could've
shit
just said their names.
because it's not.
Well, we all
yeah, but
knew
you know what?
what
He's
happened.
dying. He's
No,
dying.
That's the movie's
How
credit. We all
long
knew
do
what
you
happened.
think he's gonna last? He got
I
stabbed
wanted
right
to
in the
see-
No,
side.
I
he's
wanted
talking
to
about
see
this
it.
before he got stabbed.
No,
No,
I
but
wanted
I want
to
to
see it,
I want to
but
see
we all
him
knew
until
what
the
happened.
end. That's what I
Because
wanted.
that they made it
Right.
really prevalent. We all
Yeah.
knew what happened because of the framework they laid out in the movie.
Right.
That's the problem I have, though. I'll even say this: shitty YouTube first video trying to do something, people screaming, people like just black and people screaming, couple names being called out, people dying, all that shit in complete blackness, horrible nightmare dream sequence, and he wakes up and that's not what's
I
happening.
mean, like, I
You know,
think
something like that.
I think
They could have done it.
Yeah, I think they
scene,
could've-
yes.
Yeah, they could have done a scene. It needed
can buy
a
it.
nightmare dream sequence to show
I
why he's.
I could buy that. It would make
Yeah.
a lot more sense. I would think that would
yeah,
happen.
they could add
Yeah.
like a.
I think they were going for the fact where it's like leave it up to the imagination.
Or even
I think
go
that
with-
was sort of the idea, but I
Right,
think
but still-
if they wanted to leave it up to the
We could've
imagination,
just read
it
a book.
probably could have been a bit more. They probably could have added a bit more details to what
Well, see,
happened instead of
they
just
had the perfect
Westchester.
opportunity, and they didn't do it when they did the news report thing. Of,
Yeah.
In this,
That would have worked.
this was
The news
just
report.
like this was not as bad as what happened in Winchester.
Westchester.
Westchester a year ago when
Winchester
Yeah.
said the
when
zombie
X amount of
bar.
people died.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they said like 70 people died.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
People were injured because
Yeah.
of a
I mean,
traumatic
like, yeah,
event,
it
and,
def-
but
I mean-
last time it happened, all these people died.
I mean, when I
Yeah.
saw it, I just kind of assumed like, oh, he had a seizure and killed some people.
Right.
But I didn't think of the fact that that X killed all the
Professor
X-Men.
X-Men killed all the X-Men. That's what they're saying.
They
That's
don't
what
tell
happened.
you.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, like
if that was
I wonder
what
if
has happened.
I wonder if they worried about whether or not we would have any sympathy for him.
Yeah,
If we all of a sudden unload on the audience, oh, by the way, all your favorite characters, yeah, this guy killed him.
I mean, like
I wonder if all of a
Well,
sudden they were worried the
what
audience is
actually
going to
happened,
lose
and that was-
sympathy
that's
for
my-
Professor
are you thinking in
X.
terms of what happened?
That would be a good
Yeah,
reason
in the
to
movie.
keep it vague. That would be a good reason because if they unload on oh, by the way, he
No, that's
trains
why
them
they
and
did it,
raised them, and he kills them all.
Most likely why, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And they probably looked at it and they were like, yeah, we don't really like Patrick Stewart's character anymore
Yeah.
because all of a sudden now we found out that he was the guy who raised them and trained them and now he killed them.
But they could have gone with
In
like
the
a
end.
forgiveness thing and at his death or something, you know.
They
Yeah.
could have,
Well,
but are we supposed to hate him up until the point where we find out he was killed? He killed them. Up
You
until
would
he
wind
dies?
up hating him, but you would understand because he lost control of his powers.
Maybe,
And that's the
but you know what? You got to release that whole "I just remembered" thing. When are you going to do that? You're going to do that towards the end.
They've set it up in all of the
So that
movies.
means
That
in the
if he-
middle,
like,
you're going to not like him.
They've set it up in all the previous movies that if he gets in Cerebro and he thinks too hard about any particular group, he will fucking kill them.
Yeah, the only thing I'm thinking,
that's
the only thing I'm
established.
thinking, the only thing
You
I'm
have to
thinking
bring
is
things
that
over. Yeah.
everybody that's, let's say, younger than us, doesn't really associate Patrick Stewart as much as they associate James McAvoy.
Yeah.
What goes with the new prequels?
Yeah, well, yeah, because
Yeah.
they're all prequels because they said, well, George
Yeah,
Lucas
and that's
can do
not
it,
that's
we'll do
not
it
in the
too.
prequels. That's not in the prequels.
Right,
That's
so-
in the first. That's in the first original movie.
Yeah.
Right.
I haven't-
Right,
I
now
haven't
we're
seen
talking
it,
about
maybe.
kids who were like 4 years old when those movies came out, maybe younger.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that
It'd be a bit much to
I think
unload
this
on
movie,
people, but I
just by
wanted
who
it
they
so
cast
bad.
in it,
Yeah.
paid homage to all of us at
Yeah.
our age who
Yeah.
saw all the original ones. And just by having Hugh Jackman show up for one more time.
Yeah.
How about you guys? I am super glad for Hugh Jackman that Wolverine is finally fucking dead on
Yeah.
screen. I am super happy for Hugh Jackman because you gotta imagine the dude's been playing fucking Wolverine for 20 fucking years. Like, come on.
Did you expect his funeral amount to move?
No.
Oh yeah. I was
thought,
I was waiting for a rock to roll
I
off.
Yeah.
expected like just
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
rock to
I
roll off.
did.
So you don't know if he moved
Nah.
or if it did.
Nah,
yeah.
that's what you guys
Yeah.
would be different. Yeah.
I feel like the ending of Inception.
No,
where
no,
the
I
whole-
didn't,
the
No,
I didn't
this
want
is
it.
a
I
big
didn't
move.
want it, but I expected it to happen.
Professor X is dead, he's dead, and we've introduced, presumably, the new cast that Fox can go play with if they
And
want
that's-
to. If they want to.
that's my
They
other
can go play
problem,
with these
too.
kids and start the whole thing all over again if they want to. So we don't really need, we had the send-off. We had this movie, all
No,
it
it's
did
a
was,
send-off.
no,
It's
this
a
movie
send-off.
passed the torch.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
just, look, now we're going to have a female Wolverine.
And then you can say years
This is
later,
it.
all
You
new
can call
cast,
it
all
being
new actors
gender
with these
biased or
powers,
whatever,
yeah.
gender norming if you
Yeah.
want. But now we have a female Wolverine. I fucking digged her character.
No, she was awesome.
I was yelling at you in the theater. I was like, she goes at them like a fucking spider monkey.
Her introduction
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm
So
not.
I dig her. I like her character.
I'm not sure if she actually produced it, but like, we had stunt acting.
Yeah.
Oh
No,
yeah.
I don't think that was her.
Yeah.
I don't think that was her. I think
Yeah,
they.
Well, see, I do like the
I
line
was
that she
waiting
said-
for her because I kept watching it drip down her nose and drip down her top lip and on her bottom lip, and I'm like, she's gonna lick that little fucking booger, isn't she?
Yeah.
Just before
I
she
hate when
had to
people
do
do
it.
that when they do that in the movies because as human beings, which, even though she's a mutant, she is a human being. Like we have reflexes, which is when we feel it's not dripping down our face, we do that.
Right? She didn't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Presumably, because
Like I know it looks more
Well,
dramatic and sad
if
if,
she-
they just
if
sit
she-
there and let it stream, but like, come on,
you're gonna wipe it away
our
with your
hands
hands.
move up and wipe away our
Right,
stuff.
she's gonna use it with her hand to wipe away her face, and then accidentally with her fucking Wolverine claws take her fucking nose off.
Oh, the old back.
Well, she'll pierce one nostril, and that'll be her teen look.
Yeah.
That'll be when she starts dating the bad boy. in
Yeah,
like
that was
5
kind of
years.
that was kind of like a weird thing where she's cutting herself.
Yeah.
I know.
That's like
I was like,
that's like
oh,
a
evil,
bit- I mean,
and
like,
It was so
oh.
sad.
I mean, like, yeah,
She's
it's
sitting there just
disturbing, but,
watching
like,
herself heal
that-
by cutting her arm
Yeah.
with her claws.
That's like
and just
I
watching her
could
heal.
totally see a kid like who had that
Oh,
power.
totally
See, I would do
doing
that.
Yeah.
See, I would definitely
goes
do it.
really
If I learned I could do that, I would totally do it just to watch it heal.
I don't.
Like,
I don't.
again,
If
like-
I had the claws to, I could be poking holes though. Instead of just like slit, like yeah, okay.
I poke a hole and then try
Yeah.
to slip something in there
Yeah,
before it
yeah,
heals up.
yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
That's where I hide that
Yeah.
marble.
So something I was wondering about that I thought they were going to go into, but they didn't, and I don't know if it was just like we're ignoring this or we're leaving this for future discussion, is Logan makes it pretty clear to her late in the movie that yes, he's like willing to die and is sort of actively pursuing it, but
Yeah.
also his body is falling apart from the inside out,
Yeah.
and he says it's because of the adamantium that
Yeah.
is poisoning him.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
she has that too.
So she's a ticking time bomb too,
She will go through
But
that.
I
which
think,
they don't deal with at all.
but I think,
What can you
I
do?
think, I don't think
Yeah, what
she
are you
has
gonna
as
do?
much as he does. Though.
Well, she has two claws.
I think she has. I think she has. I think she has
But
the
then-
claws in the hands
Yeah.
and the feet, but nowhere else.
And the file said augmented, but not
Yeah,
complete.
augmented but not replaced. So I think
Yeah,
she has
but
it like in her
still-
arms and in her feet.
Still,
so
it's adamantium in your skeleton.
Yeah.
I think she has. She has like the caveat of
She'll
she
probably
has,
go through that too. But look
It's
how old he is.
poison,
He was
but
getting
her
old.
healing factor will.
And look what he's been through in his life.
That's true.
Yeah, he's been nuked.
I mean, come on. Yeah,
He's
got a lot of road
Yeah.
100 years or something.
I mean, there's a lot of miles on those
Professor X said
tires.
he was in his 90s, so...
No. Wolverine's
Wolverine's like 200 years
Yeah,
old.
yeah.
Oh,
So
is he?
The character's 200. Well, yeah,
Well,
the character's 200 years old.
presumably,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, but I like.
When you take all the movies as canon, he's like 200 years
Right.
old.
Well,
He was
I like
the
how
Civil
the
War, the
well
first
when
World
I like
Wars,
when
yeah.
he gets the Hugh
Yeah.
Jackman
Yeah,
shirtless
so-
scenes.
It's
His chest hair's all gray now. He's got scars on scars.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's exactly like the beginning of. I'm not exactly, but it reminds me a lot of Dark Knight Returns. Where Bruce Wayne goes to visit the doctor. He's
Yeah.
like, well, listen, there's a problem with the cartilage in your knee. You don't have any. Yeah, you can't really move your neck that much. You can't really move your knees that much. They've taken quite a pounding. So, no, Mr. Wayne, I don't suggest you go parasailing or whatever.
No,
the
that's
fuck.
Dark Knight Rises.
Was that Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. The third one, the Bane one.
The third one, yeah.
Yeah. So
And then
it reminds me like, oh yeah, these guys are kind of human in the fact that they get hurt, and this shit ain't gonna last forever. So that's what kind of reminded. Like, finally, we get to see it all.
That actually brings up another problem I had.
What's that?
With the people doing all this stuff not ever bothering to read the quote-unquote X-Men comic that's out there and
No.
see the fucking latitude and
Yeah,
longitude
because they
and set that up
probably
ahead of time.
believe it as much as he does, which he says
Yeah.
25% of it happened, but they got it all wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, 25% of what you read actually happened, but it's all wrong.
See, that's my other big thing, because I was kind of like, I can skip right up to my rewrite right now.
Sure.
If anybody else wants to.
Nah, go ahead.
My rewrite is basically 3 scenes. Nightmare sequence with Charles Xavier waking up, going to classes, having his breakdown, killing all of the X-Men. However they wind up dying because of that, they just all pop over dead, and all those people. At the end, they show up. The makeshift, like, basically the movie's the same. The makeshift, like, watchtower thing is the top of a secret underground bunker.
Okay.
All stylish. When they're making their break to get to Canada, the mutants who are already in Canada living, like, safely, help them.
Okay.
Like a door opens up or something,
Like
out of the canyon.
And basically all these are huge displays of power. Basically at the end, they're making their break. You got the mutant. You see the mutant. You see where they have to go. You see the people they've been talking to. They're waiting on the other side. They decide to come and help, and you have this big display of powers. Instead of just these 2 people cutting through everybody, you have all this shit going on.
Okay.
And you don't have the kids getting captured. Like, it's this big, fantastic display. A big, huge finish on a tiny, small scale inside of this.
And that makes you feel better about it, Professor Xavier, because he didn't kill them all. Like, there were still some.
Yeah, he didn't kill all of them.
Yeah.
He just killed all of the ones that were ahead of school because there were still some
But
of them
through the
out
movie,
there.
you're thinking, oh, they're all gone. But then all of a sudden, this Eden place is real.
Who have been hiding in secret because
And they
of
all
what
come
happened.
out and it's just huge battle.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would do the huge battle.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do the huge battle. I like the kids and Logan doing it all.
Yeah, and the kids
I
working with the
Yeah.
dudes coming across.
Yeah, I like the
whole
kids
thing,
working
yeah.
with Logan. I don't
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
huge battle because then it's like an early 2000s. I liked it all the way up to the huge battle.
Well, see, I like
Forget
the
huge
I
battle.
want the huge
Just
battle
let them
at
get
the
across
end.
the finish line, but let them work to get across
Well,
the finish line.
I
Don't
what-
give them training
What I
wheels
want is the
with
mutants.
fucking
What I
other
want is
mutants coming in.
the old mutants working.
I don't
with
want the old
new
mutants to come
for
in
the
and
big
help
battle.
them. I want them and Logan to finish to the shit and get across the finish line.
That
Once
works
they're across,
too.
my
They're
rewrite
good to
is
have
exactly like yours, except once they're across
Yeah.
the finish line, that's where they run into one, maybe two of the originals. Not a whole slew. One, maybe two. Cameo by Halle Berry. That's it. Welcome. Thank God you made it. We've been looking for you. Shit like that. That's it. But I want them to kill the guys. I want Logan to kill the guys.
You want the kids to do it? Okay.
Yeah, I want the kids to, exactly like they did in the movie. But I want your scene, like you said, Professor X
Rex doing it,
recall it, killing them all.
Yeah.
Or at least we think it's all
And
of
then
them.
waking up and realizing and
Right,
saying,
right.
yeah.
I want that. I'm using that, and I'm using at the end they do reach somebody.
Yeah, there's somebody actually
One
there.
person was left, and
Yeah.
take your pick. Whoever I think Halle Berry. Why not?
I was half expecting
See,
that
almost
fat
like
kid's
Cyclops.
power to be
Or
super
Cyclops.
speed when he was running.
Yeah.
But then he
Which would
tripped.
be a star.
Yeah.
But I think you give them one old person, one older X-Men that's still left around.
Yeah, that survived.
Right, but it's
Yeah.
now a little bit older. That's older. Like,
Yeah.
give me, throw some makeup and shit on Halle Berry, make her look older. And be like, welcome, we've been looking for you. But
Yeah,
God, you made it.
yeah.
Now we have much to teach you, and you have much to learn, something like that. And that's it.
I almost
Outside of that, I mean, that's
almost wanted
that's
to
my
fix
whole
it.
rewrite. It's your rewrite,
Yeah.
but that's one thing I would change with it. I want the kids and Logan to do
You
the
want the
same
kids to do it, yeah.
same battle they had at the end.
But you want
I'll
more of
keep
the
it.
powers from the kids, not just killing
Yeah, I
the
want the
one
kids
guy.
to do it.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward ever since I
Yeah.
found out about these guys. I want to
Oh
see.
shit! Yeah.
I want to see them do it.
They've been trained.
Yeah, I want to see them
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
I don't want them getting training wheels and having all these.
They
other
should have
people
had
come
more scenes where the kids were like maybe some trying and failing, and then
Right,
but
learning,
half getting them.
learning
Yeah.
on the job.
And it gets knocked down, and then they're like, "Oh crap, I can do it this way."
Let me
or
try it
something.
like this. And then
Because
he
they
actually
did
I like that.
they did show it in the and I do like that the nurse's video didn't step into professional. It's always jittery. It's always kind of
Right.
shitty.
Well, you
The
love your
kids-
found footage.
The kid's like throwing the mannequin, and then throws the fucking trainer against the wall, and then all hell breaks loose.
Oh, yeah.
It's like fuck this shit.
Again,
yeah.
keep that scene
Yeah,
in the movie.
yeah.
That scene worked. I liked it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. That's my rewrite. So you guys are up. So that's all. I liked his. I would change one thing. I would change one thing about his, but that's it.
I think I'd have. I think Laura come in a bit earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm not. I kind of like.
I mean, it's,
I kind of like.
You
like the
would do-
idea
I'll say
of
this. It's a good movie, but it's just a little bit lacking.
You would do, Steven. You would do less character development with Logan. Is what you're saying. You would take a little bit of time.
Well,
out
I
of
think.
it. I'm not against.
I think. Well, not
I
necessarily
can see
less
that.
character development with Logan, but more a bit more time with her, with him and the girl.
It's a very simple system.
And
Okay.
yeah.
You don't-
And also I'd add a bit more of a sense of taste.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
like somebody's after us.
Yeah.
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 Or at least like there could be an element like where I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if Logan knew that or not. So like, okay, Caliban's dead. We can slow down a little bit.
Okay.
And then,
Yeah.
and then maybe like something sort of similar to him finding the coordinates, where just like by some fluke of bad luck he figures out
Okay.
where they are, and maybe then have and like maybe kill Caliban a bit earlier.
Okay.
And then have the family scene after that.
All right.
And-
All right. I can see that.
I did like how Caliban went out though.
Yeah, that was
He was just kind of like, "Ooh, you left him here. It's on. It's
Yeah.
fucking on. Here you go."
I did kind of like that.
Yeah, I think that's my rewrite.
Adam?
I'll keep it pretty much exactly as it is, but when he finally meets the main bad guy, what's his name?
The
You
science
mean
guy?
the
or the-
henchman?
Yeah,
No, not the henchman, the main
scientist?
bad guy, the guy who's in charge, the scientist.
It's Hugh
Doctor-
Grant, but I don't remember what his name
That's not
is.
you.
That was not Hugh Grant.
That's not you.
No, wait,
Not
no.
Hugh Grant.
Stephen Merchant.
That's his name. Steve Merchant.
No, that was Caliban.
Oh no, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway.
Oh,
I
that
think
was
it
Stephen
like-
Merchant?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
Dr.
that was-
Rice, I think.
Yes,
Dr.
Dr. Rice.
Dr.
Who should have
I
been
want-
who should have been Mr. Sinister, but I don't know why
Yes.
they didn't do that. That's who he should have
Number,
been.
okay,
they're
stop,
killing-
stop
they're
stealing
killing
my
the
idea.
No, I
because,
already,
yes,
I already did mine because that's.
I think
who
it's because
Mr.
they're killing a
Sinister is.
franchise,
Yeah.
not bringing a new one in.
Yeah, yeah. It should have been Mr. Sinister. He wasn't, but that's okay. Keep going.
my review.
Keep
okay.
going.
keep
Keep going.
going.
Adam.
Right. Okay, yes. Number one, I want more scenes with him. I want him to be Mr. Sinister, and instead of this bland Mr. Rice character,
Yeah.
I want more scenes with him, and I want him played by Nicolas Cage. Wolverine, we meet at last. Let me explain my evil plan to you. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Other than that, keep it exactly the same.
I know you want to know about my evil plan. I know you don't want to know about who, why, where.
And where?
It involves a car called Eleanor and a kidnapping on Alcatraz with Marines.
Dope.
And
And the
don't
Declaration of
Wolverine.
Independence.
And something about the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. There's a
Sean
map.
Connery and gambling.
There's a map on the
Yes.
back that shows me how I'm going to drink myself to death.
Don't worry, Wolverine. I'm not gonna just freak out.
Not gonna freak out, go crazy. But don't worry, it's okay. It's not me because I'm really Christian Slater.
Yeah.
Do you have a rewrite?
Took that face off. When John Travolta comes in.
My rewrite would not be of the movie itself, but instead it would be a rewrite of my experience of watching the movie. Because in my rewrite of
You
my
have a sidekick.
experience of watching the movie,
Oh,
I
yeah,
would
this-
not have a sidekick.
This is quite
I would
funny.
not have a
yeah.
random hammered stranger sitting next to me who was in my space
Yes.
in a major way, like at one point lifted up the armrest
I
in
didn't
between
see
us
that.
so that he could have more in between space. He was fidgeting and leaning down and doing weird crap. He was muttering to himself about the movie. He at one point fell asleep and started snoring.
I know that.
Quite loudly.
I
I
know
thought
it.
it was just somebody saying, this movie's
No.
boring at the scene. I'm going to pretend to
So
sleep.
wait, that wasn't somebody fucking around.
No.
That was actually
Next
sleep.
Dude was snoring.
Shit.
I looked over. I was like, holy shit, this is a dude snoring.
Like,
He
dude, I
was-
know the movie's a little slow right now, but come on.
A loud noise woke him up.
Yeah.
He was all over my space, like elbow in me.
Asshole.
And was like constantly fiddling with these two tiny, like travel-sized hand sanitizer bottles. I'm not entirely sure if A, they were just filled with booze, B, they were actually filled with hand sanitizer and he was just using those hand sanitizer, or C, they were filled with hand sanitizer that he was drinking. Honestly, it could have been either one, like any
C.
of the three. I think it was C. I think it was C.
I think it was C.
Like I know he kept rubbing hand sanitizer on his calves because I could smell it. I don't know why.
And then you jump into your seat, like,
I think
mid-preview or something.
I
Like
think,
Yeah,
I
he
think
got
I think he
it.
was on acid or something. I don't know if he was just
I don't
drunk.
know. I don't think he was just drunk.
I
And
think-
it was
I think
so
it
like
was on
after the
something,
movie
yeah.
was over, he left, and I leaned over to the guy who'd been sitting on the other side of him. I was like, "So that was interesting," and we laughed. And he and I shared that we actually both thought initially that the guy had some sort of special needs.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
But it became clear as the movie experience went on
He was
that
just completely
any
fucking
of those
wasted,
special
yeah.
needs he had incurred on himself by consuming some substance or some combination of substances. So honestly, like the movie was my welcome distraction for what was happening next to me. So I
so
don't
sorry.
really have a lot of complaints or rewrites for the movie.
Got a whole subplot going on next to you.
So, John, next time you sit next to the drunk guy.
I offered to change seats. Rachel said no.
I didn't want to stand up in the middle
No,
of the
don't
movie.
offer. Just change seats. Fuck that.
I offer it
Okay.
because, you know what? I have to give her a choice. We're pro-choice people.
Morgan, do you have a rewrite?
Morgan.
You know, it was a bit slow.
Yeah.
You know, I agree with you. It needed a little more haste. There was a few kind of just. I like how they had some cliched moments, like in the end where the guy's about to explain, "Here's my evil plan," and then bam.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that.
But
I love that.
for the most part, like-
I would never change that.
like that
So you-
family. I'm like, oh, let's invite them over. Oh, they're dead.
So
Yeah.
you,
You know,
say-
right away.
yeah, you
Yeah,
take
you
even
called
like
it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like well in advance, like they're dead.
Yeah.
So you take even like scenes of them with Calabac, being like, okay, they're here, we got to get closer. We
Yeah.
gotta get closer.
Yeah.
Mixed in with the family thing, because that just kind of ground to a halt for
Yeah,
the family.
really.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, let's pray to God about our beautiful dinner that we have in front of us.
I
here.
am
Let's-
really glad. I am really glad that Laura didn't wind up kissing the kid, because it was like the first
Because they
boy
just
that-
literally
Yeah.
murdered.
Because it kind of
Yeah.
seemed like it.
That was getting
And
creepy.
I really
Yeah.
liked how she was just kind of like, I'm fucking exploring.
Yeah.
It's like, don't kiss him.
Yeah,
don't hug
same.
him. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And she
Please
didn't.
don't.
That was so great.
Yeah.
That was so great.
I like that it
We-
just turned into,
What's going on? What are you doing? Yeah.
here's my headphones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone's laughing at the crowd.
Someone
On
started
that
early
note-
tonight.
Speaking of distractions,
That's someone else's impression of the movie, and it's
Yeah.
not good. Not a good one.
no. That was the worst review of all of us.
Yeah.
So
Always
I'd
something
say-
new.
Always something.
I'd say the simple review. It tries to be a deep emotional movie,
Yeah.
but because of everything that we've seen in the past of the X-Men movies, it's a little bit lacking on the we're in the X-Men universe.
Yeah, I think they're digging
Agreed.
a little.
They
too
try to be an art
Yeah.
film
Yeah.
with Marvel Comics.
And it kinda like-
yeah, I mean,
it
I think
kinda
it had a lot
really-
to do with they knew they were killing him off. He
Yeah.
didn't want to keep
It
doing
really
this.
kind of hit hard when she's like, "Dad,"
Yeah.
but it hit for me. It hit really great when he's like, "Well, bad things happen to people that I care about," and she's like, "Shit, I'm gonna be okay then."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it turns, they like flip and she's like, "Oh, Dad, oh, I'm." There's a bunch. I have a bunch of problems.
Sorry, I'm
and it
so
was kinda
distracted.
like,
Someone's dripping.
yeah, it's okay.
It's a funny side.
I'm more glad for the things that didn't happen in the movie where he didn't say "I love you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that he just says, "Oh, this is what it feels like," and then he does.
Yeah, that was good.
That
Yeah.
was cool.
That's
He
good.
didn't
That's the
say, he didn't
send-off.
say it. He didn't call her daughter.
Yeah.
He
He had a
didn't
good
call her-
send-off.
Yeah, he had a good send off.
But, yeah.
Her saying "Dad" was kind of like a bit too much.
I kind of
Well,
felt like she needed
should've-
to.
She
I
needed to
felt
say
she
it
should
at
have
least
said "Papa."
yeah.
Yeah,
She
I
or
would have
Padre
preferred.
or something.
I would have
something like
preferred
that.
Papa.
Yeah.
She needed to say it at least once.
Especially because he had the line to her where he really carefully danced around it when he said, "I don't know what Charles said to you, but I'm not whatever he told you I am to you."
Yeah, that was good.
So
Yeah,
he
it was
very
good.
obviously was dancing around. He didn't even want to say, "I'm not your father."
Yeah.
He was gonna say, "I'm not what he said I like."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me
Well,
not
see,
even say
the,
a word.
the only reason her calling him Dad worked for me was because I know the nurse that got her out told her that
Right,
this
yeah.
is your
That
father.
makes
sense.
Yeah.
And she had the romanticized vision of him from the comics that she actually had and everything. So I kind
Yeah.
of understood it, but I still felt if she would have said Papa, that would have like maybe tipped me over because
Yeah.
people were talking about crying. That might have tipped me over to feeling something, but she said Dad. and it's
I think they
nah.
went real emotional because they knew
Yeah.
we're killing off Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
We're killing off Hugh Jackman. Neither one of them want to keep doing these fucking movies.
Well, see, he said,
you know,
said,
I mean, I get it. We all
Hugh Jackman
love
has
him.
said he'll come back as Wolverine only as part of the Avengers. Only if he can jump into that.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
And Doctor Strange
Yeah, but they
did do
yeah.
Doctor Strange
Yeah,
did
that-
do the
that sounds
beautiful
an
thing
awful
of setting up the multiple
Yeah, that's
universes.
not gonna happen. That's just not gonna happen. I don't buy that's gonna happen.
I want it to
I just-
happen,
I don't
and
buy
I think
it.
if it does, it'll happen right, and I accept that caveat.
They got Spidey, so precedent has been set, but still, I don't know. Not after this movie.
You know what keeps bothering me though?
I don't know. That's. I mean, they put it further into the future, so it could happen.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
put it so far into the future that they leave that gap.
Yeah.
But they could slide him into Infinity Wars or something. They could do
And
that.
I do like that they.
I don't
like
buy that.
the thing that I like about this movie are the things that they didn't put in it, and I do like that they didn't put in the X-Men theme when she turned the cross into an X. They didn't put the X-Men theme in there because I was hoping.
No. They
I was thinking I was going to hear some of that.
They
but
turned the
didn't come
cross
in,
into
it
an X.
just turned the cross into an X. That was
I dug that. I did get the impression that this was one of those. Hugh Jackman said he was going to come back in only on the
Avengers.
Or you kill me off.
Yeah.
Just like Harrison Ford says, I'll give you fuckers one more Star Wars movie where I fucking play Han Solo.
And he was
but you
great.
have to finally kill me off. I wanted to be killed off in Jedi.
Wait.
And George Lucas said no.
Han Solo dies?
Yeah, spoiler.
Oh my god.
Spoilers for Force Awakens, a 2-year-old movie.
Yeah, but you know what? It's Star Wars.
A year and 2 months. It
Yeah.
hasn't been 2 years.
It's been a while.
I think when the next one's coming out, which is later this year.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. But anyway, yeah, I think that was one of the conditions. Like, you can bring me back, but just kill me off. No one's gonna keep buying the condition. Like, no one's gonna keep believing that I'm 20-something years old again or 31 years old.
He
again.
did have
and doing the
completely
slickety
off
stick
target.
with my berserker moves and like.
He did have
No
one
one
of the
buys
best
that.
lines in that movie, though. In The
that?
Force Awakens. That's not how the Force works.
Oh
that
well,
was great. That
talk
was
about
great.
getting, talk about staying on target.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I think this is a conditional movie. Patrick and I just kill us off already. We can't keep coming back again and again.
Patrick Stewart.
How
has
many
said
movies do we
he's
gotta do for you
retiring-
guys?
He's retiring his Professor X.
He had one more movie, but after this one, decided, you know what? No, I don't
No,
want to do it.
I don't
want
want to
this
do it
to be
anymore.
my last movie.
And it's
What
fun
else
because
can the guy do? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, he gave us plenty of movies with him being in the chair. So
and he's
Let
played
him go off,
two of the
you know?
most iconic characters in
and
modern
he had
science fiction.
and he had a kind of
history,
interesting
so,
death.
Yeah,
What with the seizures and everything. It wasn't just this hokey like he's gonna ride off into the sunset or he's gonna die saving somebody, you know, with his last dying breath. No, it was kind of like, you know, that's what happened to that character. It's the one guy with the brain powers, because that's what he has, and it's his brain disease. Even the character in the movie says it. He's got ALS and, you know, what was it, Alzheimer's. Isn't that fucking scary with a guy who has the most incredible, powerful brain on the planet? They even say it in the movie.
Yeah.
I think that's the way he should have gone out. The brain was what's going to do it to him.
I do like how his
he had
last words
these
were the
moments
name
of
of the boat
clarity
they were gonna
throughout,
buy.
but he
Yeah,
still
That
that's
was
what
cool
kept
because
him.
it was like he like when for me and him saying that he was like fuck it.
Yeah.
The best thing I can think of right now is that boat. We're out in the middle of the ocean, just you and me, doing whatever the fuck we want, and I can't fuck with anybody.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was called, but he named the boat and
The
then he died.
Sunseeker.
Yeah,
Sunseeker,
yeah.
Sunseeker, yeah. But anyway, Brass Tacks, good movie, bad movie.
Good movie.
Good movie.
Good movie.
Yeah.
I think good movie.
Okay movie.
Morgan is an okay movie. Morgan was not impressed.
No, it was good, but it
supposed
wasn't
to say a
great.
very good movie, in fact. think
I
it's
would
one of my
say
favorite
I would say good
films.
movie. I don't think I would go as far as very good movie. I would say good movie.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. I am
for the bar of the average X-Men movie, I think it surpassed that. Maybe
Yes.
I'm just used to see
Yes.
a lot of really
Yes.
terrible X-Men movies.
No.
This one is like one of the best.
I agree with everything you just said. I think I've seen some terrible X-Men movies. I didn't really particularly like Apocalypse that much.
Oh god, that was terrible.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
I
seeing
would have to
this
say-
was a huge breath, and it was completely a different movie.
Yeah.
It was not
Vibe
the.
was-
It was not like what he said. Like people in leotards saving the world. That shit doesn't happen. Like I was completely like that's right. Yeah.
It's almost like it's almost as if like the whole movie was like, let's just create this alternate dimension
Where it's real.
where it's like the X-Men existed, but all the stuff in the in the first.
Yeah,
all the
those are-
original X-Men.
those are in the past.
They didn't really. Not even the past. They didn't even.
Oh, they didn't really happen.
Yeah.
You could almost get away with
yeah,
that.
you can kind
could
of
almost
you
get away
can
with
kind of argue.
It
that
certainly
was just
felt like that because nobody really gave that much of a shit about
Yeah,
mutants.
and also
Everybody
there's
got
a whole
past.
There's a whole meta thing where it's just like where they have the comics in it, and then
it's
that's
no
where
longer
it's like that stuff didn't really happen.
It's but like the fact that there's mutants that walk along, it's like it's no longer shocking.
Yeah, and the whole
I like seeing that because every fucking movie that has like superpowers and shit like that, people are shocked and amazed.
Yeah,
Because that's the interesting part, right?
this
was a great movie in the fact that it showed that people get over this shit.
The only callback
That's the one
they
thing
had,
where I do think it makes it
the
bad.
only callback
That
they
aspect of it, I
had
think,
was
is great.
back to the very first movie
Yeah.
when we have to meet at Ellis Island.
Yeah.
And I'll say,
Sure.
I'll say for me the ranking of the X-Men movies is X2 is the best. This one comes in second.
All
The
right,
first. And
I'll
then
give you
maybe
that.
not
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that.
Because X2 is really good.
Yeah, I know, but I think I like this better than X2. I'll give you the first one.
I have to rewatch X2 to.
Me too. It's been a long time, but anyway, I say still a really.
And X2.
I'll say it's a
because
good movie.
of the
I'll stand by what I said
actual
earlier. I think it's a good
powers.
movie.
Yeah.
And in the X-Men lore, I think it's the second best.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad movie. There's a few little things, or I thought it was missing a few things, just like all you guys.
It was good enough that the little
But I think it's a good movie.
problems were little problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's for this.
Like at no point were we watching this movie and
Like,
like,
oh,
oh,
it's a piece
fuck
of
this,
shit.
I'm out.
Exactly.
It was just like,
This is
let's keep
Underworld 12.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Just a few small cringe things.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I think it was a good movie. I know I will watch it again, and I'm sure spot a bunch of other things. But
Yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna watch it again. That enough to say right there. It's a good movie.
Do we want to call that it?
And I think so. In the meantime, they're clearing up
They're killing up
some
somebody else's party too
recycled
much.
beer on the floor from somebody.
We'll call that the end of.
But I think we'll
John.
call it the end of Some Guy and John. I'm John.
Logan. This is Guy
This is Some Guy.
with Steven.
And Adam.
And Rachel.
And Morgan.
Thanks for joining us. You guys have a good night. Enjoy your cat videos.
Bye, buddy.